Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and out there last night I was watching the preseason game between the Chicago Bears and the Baltimore Ravens. Got to watch Lamar Jackson. And actually, I tell you, he looks awesome, man. He's going to be one specimen of a quarterback. They get a good line in front of him. I think he's just going to be totally dominant. You know, I mean, he still has that running. I mean, he put on the show last night. Had a touchdown pass. Had several great runs, passes. It just looks very confident being out there on the field with the big boys. I remember the 3 years that he was at Louisville. I remember he came in the middle of that Auburn kickoff classic game. U of L was really getting killed, and man, he was a young. I mean, he was an athletic specimen. He came in at halftime, and Cards lost that game. They were getting blown out, but they ended up only losing it by a touchdown. Yeah, it was end up fighting for the end. And I was like, what's weird is when he went to U of L, nobody's ever heard of the guy. We're like, well, who's this guy? I mean, unlike any other star quarterback, you always hear about him in the news. Yeah, we landed this guy. He's so awesome, man. He's just great. I mean, even with Teddy, I mean, I heard some hype about him before he came to, before he came to U of L. I mean, he was a great quarterback. When Charlie Strong brought him in, Petrino's first year out, it's kind of weird because nobody's ever heard this guy. I don't even remember who was the quarterback. I don't know. That's how crappy he was, the guy that was in there before Jackson. It was the guy with the fro. Was it Stein or what? I forgot what his name was. I don't know. What was that quarterback's name? It was, some white guy, I remember. I couldn't even remember the guy's name that started that game. But, yeah, he brought Jackson in that second half. And, that first year, that line sucked. That line, all 3 years, he never really did have a line. Could you only imagine if Lamar actually had a line at U of L? Pretty much, the 3 years that Lamar Jackson was at U of L, he was running for his life. He just has that much athleticism. He put the offense on his back. And his last year that he was there, I salute him for going to that, going to the bowl game. We were playing Mississippi State. They lost, but I admire him going in that bowl game, and giving the team a chance. But like I said, he's just that much of a specimen of an athlete, man. He's, like I said, when he was at U of L, he came out of the middle of nowhere, man. He came out of the middle of, first year he just kind of, he didn't really know when he was at U of L his freshman year, he didn't really know the playbook that well. He had yards and yards, came back in sophomore year, dominated. That sophomore year, he just totally dominated. He learned the playbook, he had great athletic ability. He got it synced with all the receivers. Hell, I think he had more rushing yards than the running backs there. And like I said, he looked really good last night against the Bears. I know it's only a preseason game, but he looked very confident out there on the field. He looked very confident out there on the field. With the big boys. Like I said, I know it's preseason. They had RG3 start out there, so more than likely he's going to be back up to Joe Flacco. Like I said, he put on a performance last night, and I think Baltimore's got him a great quarterback in Lamar Jackson. He just looks awesome, man. He just out there looks good, and like I said, when he came there, nobody, that Auburn game, the kickoff classic freshman year, nobody's ever heard of him until it was kind of funny, until after that first game, everybody's heard of him, and it's kind of neat. He's a real humble guy. He's a real humble guy. You don't hear him all the flashy dancing and all that. He lets his talking on the field. Passes, rushes, and all that good stuff. I always like to see him do well. See any of my U of L Cardinals do very well. Good to see. Hats off to Lamar Jackson and performance last night. I just think he has a lot more in him. Hopefully they get a good line in Baltimore, and go Cards.